buckle up, because it's going to be a long ride. It's going to be a wild ride. Nobody cares, but we're going to tell you anyways. This is Popcorn Chats. I move around too much. I need a Britney microphone that can just stay by my face. I'll just hold this. I think it's your turn to intro.
Are you sure?
I think so, because didn't I do... Oh, maybe it's not.
It's your turn. I know this.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Popcorn Chat. I'm McKay.
And I'm Katie.
And if you thought we were done with Game of Thrones on this podcast, you were wrong. We are being truly blessed with House of the Dragon, HBO's newest show in the Game of Thrones world. And we're here to talk about the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But first, we must check in.
Yay!
Katie, how are things?
You're good. I feel like I did just check in with you.
Yeah.
Before we got on here. But yeah, I'm doing very well. I'm just very busy as always. And oh my gosh, I'm going to another Lesbian Elite event.
Oh, very exciting.
I know. I'm trying to wiggle my way into that community out here. Wish me luck, guys.
That should be fun.
Yeah, anyways, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I don't think anything has really happened that's exciting to me either. I've also been very busy. I've literally had something every single night after work for like the past 2 weeks now, and this whole week I have something every single night, but that's okay. It's good to be busy. Yeah, I'm always really tired by the time I go to bed at night, so I guess that's a good thing. I'm excited to chat.
Bitch. Yeah, let's get into this. I am so happy that this is actually good. I was very nervous leading in because I was just like, oh gosh, like I just want it to be good. They delivered, bitch. I'm so happy to be hearing this theme again, to be on this set again, like seeing on the set. I'm on the set with these people. No, I just meant it's so cool seeing these sets again, being in this world again. It's been awesome. And like to have the rewatch, we're fresh off the rewatch and now diving back into it in this prequel. It's dope.
I love seeing the flowing white hair that all of these people have.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, that's our bitch, Dany. Yeah, I will say being so fresh off the rewatch, and I think too, because this is something I want to talk about, is the impact of TikTok now that we didn't have the first time Game of Thrones was out, and now that we have in this current day, the memes, first of all, are just getting better and better. Because I talked about how the Twitter memes were so good for the 8th season of Game of Thrones, but the TikToks are even better. But with that, I've been seeing a lot of people making like edits of Dany, and literally one of them made me cry. I sent it to Katie, but I've been seeing so many, and it really, really does make me miss Dany. Like, I don't necessarily miss any of the other characters right now, because like, why would you really be thinking about them that much?
Yeah.
Out of all of them, I fucking miss Dany, and they just did her so fucking dirty. It's like, we're gonna go into this optimistic and hope that they don't do the same thing to any of our characters in here. I have faith, but I did just want to point that out, that it's hard not to miss Dany when you see these other long white-haired people with their dragons, to not miss her.
Yeah, it's like cool in a way to be seeing that same hairstyle. In one of the shots, they had Rhaenyra facing away from the camera, and it was like that could easily be Emilia Clarke on the other side of that wig. She's like petting the dragon, and it's just so neat. Then it's bittersweet, like you said, because it's just that painful reminder of what happened to our favorite character. I do feel like this series is an attempt to kind of remedy what they did to Dany's character. Different creator, different writer. I mean, George R.R. Martin, same dude, but different creator, like Dan and whatever the fuck his name is.
David and Dan.
David and Dan.
I did like right off the bat in episode 1 how they rooted us in time with something familiar by saying that it was 172 years before Dany was born. Because if you're like Katie and I, we have not read the books. We are not these people that know every single detail about this world, know all of the conspiracy theories. Like, no, we just like to enjoy the TV show, and we're not experts on it. So I do like that they're rooting us in something familiar, because Katie and I kind of need that heading into this story, because already there's a lot of things, a lot of people to keep track of that I'm just like, bitch, I don't know what
Oh
y'all
yeah.
are doing.
Oh yeah. And I think it's almost better that they're so far removed from the time period of Game of Thrones that we know and love, because then they don't really have to connect prequel stuff to the original stuff. But it is really neat to see how far back these houses truly go. It really puts into perspective a lot of the conflict in the original Game of Thrones series and just how important like family and bloodline and all of that is. We're seeing kind of the life and the world that Dany was trying to get back to. It was this like Targaryen dynasty, like this really impressive reign over Westeros. How do you feel about it being 172 years before Dany? Like, were you expecting that?
I guess I don't know what I was expecting, but I'm fine with that. I think it's cool because it, like you said, it's just something so new. I don't really know what to expect. I literally have no idea where any of this is going, where any of it's headed, because like we said, we haven't read the books. I didn't do any like background research of what we're heading into, because I want to just be able to experience it. Kind of like the 8th season where it's like no one knew what the fuck was going to happen. Like that's how I
Right.
want to experience this. So I like that. And I do like that at least we have some, even though it's a new world that we're in, even though it's the same world, but like a new time, there are still things that we find to ground us, like the Red Keep, and, you know, like the jousting is familiar. The names of the houses are familiar. You know, there is the dragons, obviously, are still there. So it's nice to have some things to kind of connect to the past, but a clean slate almost to tell the story.
Yeah, and it's nuts too, just like the Targaryen dynasty lasted for so long, and then Robert's the one who like ended it. It's just so crazy. Like, how the fuck did he do that? He had Ned's help.
Because he's such a fucking flaw.
Yeah, he is.
With it being so far removed, we were talking in our 8 like recap episode of what we would like to see other Game of Thrones spinoffs, and we did say how much we would love to see like the Mad King's reign and like that coming to an end. So I do wish that maybe this was like a little bit farther forward and like closer in time, that maybe we would get this at like the tail end, or at the tail end of the series. But obviously that's a whole different beast to tackle than I think what they're trying to do with this here. So
it's not fully just for like nostalgic purposes, you know. There's so many things that are being rebooted and remade now, and it's fan service, all of it is. But with a series like Game of Thrones, it's just such an epic and massive world with so many amazing stories to be told. This could technically stand alone on its own as like something interesting for people to watch, but it also has that fan service in there where we get these little touches of things that we can relate back to the original Game of Thrones. But I do really appreciate that it's not all fan service, and it is truly an amazing story, really deep conflict between all of these characters, completely different and unrelated to the original Game of Thrones series conflict, but also similar in the way that it's just like men versus women, like who should be in line for the throne, and like people not respecting women or like trusting women who are in authority, you know, family tensions and people just wanting power. It's the same themes, different time. So well written. I just hope to be as good of a writer, good of a director as the people who create this show.
what do you think of the throne? The new, like
It's
the new
cool.
throne?
I'm glad they changed it up, because I remember when Dany is talking about how one of the Aegon Targaryen or something like melted all the swords of his enemies, and it's like, well, he must not have had that many enemies, because it's just a chair. But then you see that line of them like flowing down, and it really puts a new spin on that as like this conqueror.
And then I also like the metaphor of him sitting in power on there, but the chair is like literally making him sick by the different nicks and infections that he's getting from the swords.
Yeah, this king is also kind of a flop. He's kind of weak.
Yeah. I feel like it's never good if you're the person starting a series that's in power, especially Game of
Right.
Thrones. Like, you just know that this man is not about to last long.
Yeah, well, he's flawed. Like, we've seen, he's well-rounded. Like, he's not a complete douche. Like, I don't want him to die or anything, but I do feel like he will at some point. But he's just not fit to rule. There's someone better, and she better end this series on the throne, or I will fight.
Yeah, I know. Don't do it. Don't do it, Game of Thrones. HBO, don't do it.
I think we talked a lot in the rewatch series about what house we would want to be a part of. Do I want to be a Stark? Yeah. And what you said about like John's whole situation where he's kind of best of both worlds, great.
Yep.
Because he got a wolf and a dragon, bitch. Actually,
Yep.
he didn't really possess a dragon, but he got to ride one. So that's
Yep.
pretty cool. But in
Yep.
this family, bitch, you don't get a car for your Sweet 16, you get a dragon.
I know.
You get it, and it's not even like when you're older. It's like fresh out the womb, you get a dragon. And I just think that's so cool.
Yeah. I love that out of all of the houses that we're exploring, we are getting the Targaryens. One, because I do think that they are just probably the most interesting. Like, would you want to see a Lannister spin-off show? I mean, I'd watch it, but like, no. Same with like the Starks. I love the Starks, but like, would I want like a whole show set with the Starks? No, like the Targaryens are probably the most interesting. The dragons, they are the fucking coolest. I love dragons. I'm so happy that we're seeing more of them. Give me more, please, actually. In the second episode, I was like, why is it taking so long? Show me a dragon. And then Rhaenyra came in on her dragon. But I love that we're getting the dragons.
You know, in this prequel, there are so many dragons, whereas in the series, there's just 3 of them, and they're all Dany's children. But in this, it's like each Targaryen family member kind of has their dragon, and it's like a reflection of them and almost like an accessory or like kind of their little sidekick. And I like how it's personal to each of them. And didn't the king like lose his? This could be completely wrong, guys, and if it is, I'm sorry. I was like trying to keep up with things and names, and it's just it's hard for me. It's an uphill battle to really keep things straight. I could have sworn there was a conversation where somebody was asking the king about, his Rhaenyra's friend, Anisette, or whatever her name is. I need to pull up the cast list.
Alicent Hightower?
Yes. Or she was asking him about his dragon, and I could have sworn that the dragon like went rogue, and they like don't know where it is.
I didn't know that.
He was just like, he's like hunting or something. Again, guys, this could be completely wrong. I don't need people to like come for me in the comments or explain shit to me. Like, I'll figure it out. I think that would be on brand because I haven't seen this man with a dragon.
It would make sense that this man's dragon even fucking ditched him. I do love that the dragons look so distinct from each other. I mean, like, you could tell a difference between Dany's dragons. I feel like you at least always knew which one Drogon was.
Yeah.
And I feel like Viserion looked different, but the third one I can't really remember. Rhaegal? Can't really remember anything too special about him. But what I really like is that Rhaenyra's is gold, like beautiful gold yellow color, and then Daemon's is red. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's like red and black.
That is amazing.
It's super cool. His dragon is my favorite.
Mine too.
I was getting serious vibes, Michaela. I was like, I feel like Michaela's gonna really love this character, and I can't wait to talk about him with her.
Bitch, I'm so excited about him.
Me too. Me too.
The jousting, I understand that these horses are not actually getting injured, but can we please stop? Game of Thrones. Just stop. I don't want to see the dragons get hurt. I don't want to see horses getting hurt. Kill all the people you want, but...
On that note, though, this is very gruesome, and I kind of forgot how gruesome Game of Thrones can get, like when the crabs are just eating people on the beach. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? I don't want to see that while I'm trying to eat my dinner. Like, it's a Sunday night. I'm getting ready for the week. I don't need to see Sebastian the crab chomping on some guy's toe. Get out of here.
Fucking rotted. Yeah, that is gross. And also, like, the cutting off of limbs and stuff that Daemon in the Knight's Guard does in the streets. Bitch, that's some Mad King stuff there.
Yeah, you're being a little tyrannical.
Yeah. I do have to say, though, then when we get him in the jousting tournament, his helmet.
Yeah.
That the costuming in this in general, just once again, is knocking it out of the park. Game of Thrones in the original show knocked it out of the park with costuming. This, once again, same shit. It's amazing. But I particularly love Daemon's helmet that he had for jousting with the wings and everything.
Yeah, I thought it was a little flamboyant and might get in the way, but it was very cool aesthetically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is it extra as hell? Yes. But I feel like now after getting to know him a little bit, it makes sense.
For sure. I hate to be this person. I feel like I don't know. Do you think Rhaenyra is gay or am I just gay?
Oh, no. Okay, Katie, I did. I was picking up on vibes at first. I was like, are these two going to be into each other? And then turns out, no, she's going to go fuck her daddy. So, no. But
Yeah,
I did think that
so-
her and Allison Hightower had definitely vibes.
Okay, cool. I'm glad I'm not alone in that. I feel like there's a lot of potential ways this could go because I was like, is Rhaenyra gay or does she want to fuck her cousin? Or no, wait, her uncle.
Her uncle.
Which I'd be down for either avenue.
I'm down for the uncle.
I hate to say it, but I mean, here's the thing. It's not problematic because this is just what Game of Thrones is. Like,
at this point, like, what do you want us to say? No, when there's obviously chemistry. Like, we knew that the Targaryens were incestuous, so.
And the actors aren't really related people, so we are allowed to root for it.
We've seen twins, okay? After we saw twins in love with each other, an uncle and a niece, that's not that weird. For the show's standards. Or when this man is courting a literal child. We'll get into that in episode 2. But once again, the uncle and the niece, not looking so weird.
So I'm interested to see if they are like queer baiting with Rhaenyra and Allison, or if it's just gonna be, oh, they're just really close friends and women of this time needed each other and whatever. We'll see what happens, but I ship them. I would love for them to have like that unrequited love affair. Wow. Allison is betrothed to the king, aka Rhaenyra's father. Rhaenyra is potentially also in love with her cousin.
You mean her uncle?
Her uncle.
I'm in on her and her uncle.
Oh my god, dude. Something crazy has been happening to me recently.
Okay.
So I was at a film festival on Sunday and I was watching one of the movies in the film festival was like this gay period piece between two women. It was so beautiful and so lovely. And one of the lines in the movie, one of them said Bittersweet Nostalgia, which is the title of my feature film and that I'm currently in the process of making, if you don't know. So that happened and I was like, what the fuck? And I like looked over at my cousin Dan and I was like, did you just hear that? And he was like, yeah, that was super weird. And then, bitch, in this, they fucking ripped out a page of the book and said, so you remember, which is a line from my movie and something that happens.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Rhaenyra, I'm pretty sure Alicent rips out a page of that book and gives it to Rhaenyra for her to remember. Most of you don't know what I'm talking about, but in my movie that happened. So I just feel like that was some weird gay sign happening.
It's good vibes from the universe.
So moving into episode 1 and kind of just like talking about it. I'm disturbed. I'm scared. I'm worried about this man's need and desire for a son. You're setting yourself up for failure there, babes. Like it's already a 50-50 chance whether it's going to have a dick or not. And then also you have like birthing. It's already hard. He's already had like a couple stillborns or she like his wife has already miscarried and all this stuff. He's freaking me out a little bit at the beginning when he is all believing that he's gonna have a son.
I can't keep track of all these bloodlines. I'll say it right here, right now. I can't keep track of all them. So I don't know how they're related. Like they have to be related somehow, aren't they? Because they're Targaryens.
So yeah, I'm confused. So if you have white hair, does that mean you're a Targaryen?
I basically lump you in with them. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I'm so confused. And then the whole like Valyria thing. So Valyria was the like empire that has fallen and now they have like the doom plague happening there, right? So they all yeeted out of Valyria.
Are you talking about like Corlys, like that guy?
Yeah.
Home?
Is he a Targaryen?
I would think so. Right? Cause he's married then to another, he has like the long white hair and then he's married to someone with the long white hair. But I'm guessing that one of his parents was not Targaryen and one was Targaryen. And that's how then he would have the Velaryon last name.
Okay.
Because I think Aegon is the beginning of all of this, right?
Yeah.
We need a family tree. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone make us a family tree. Actually, you know what? I'm literally gonna Google if there's a family tree. Breaking down the complex Targaryen family. Well, I don't have time for complex. Can you just literally tell me how the king and queen are related? Okay, yes, Katie, I found. Okay, Viserys, is our king right now, and his wife Emma. They're married. married and they cousins, it looks like. So I have
Okay.
this like visual reference. So it looks like they're cousins. And then Rhaenys, the one woman that her and Rhaenyra have that conversation with, she's married to Corlys Velaryon. So so he is not Targaryen. He just has cool long white hair. And then they have 2 children. Okay, cuz then yeah, so Rhaenyra, yep. Okay, that makes sense. You know what? I'm going to screenshot this for us to have a reference for whenever we record because they all their names too sound like not the same, but I don't know.
Now I'm just down a rabbit hole, bitch. This is Rhaenyra going to be played by different actresses?
Yeah, they switch them out.
What the fuck?
Yeah, did you not notice that in the little previews? They age them
No.
up. Yeah.
Oh my god, bitch.
Yeah.
But she hasn't been in the episodes yet.
Just at the very, very beginning of episode 1 when they named whoever the king and not her.
No, that was her dad.
Oh, getting named king?
Yeah, over her aunt. That lady.
Oh, Rhaenys. Okay.
Yes.
Have we watched this show? Bruh, so I'm looking at this family tree right now. Like the tippity top, like where it all starts, is 3 siblings, 2 sisters and a brother. And the brother has a child with one sister, and the brother has a child with another sister. And then they all descend from one of the children from the brother and sister. Like, that's not even removed. That's not even like cousin. And that's straight up like, oh.
Just siblings deciding to fuck. Each other.
Maybe they hatched out of dragon eggs. I don't know.
It felt like this pregnancy that the queen is dealing with, I was like bracing for disappointment, similar to just after like Dany's pregnancy. It was really reminding me of that, and like how they were so hopeful that she was going to birth this Dothraki child that was going to like conquer the world, and it just seemed so like eerily similar. I just knew some bad shit was coming.
I just didn't expect. I mean, you know that Game of Thrones is graphic, but I just yikes. I've never even been pregnant, and that was traumatizing. Like, that was so bad.
That was really hard to watch. And I'm so with her being like, listen, after this one, I'm tapped out. I'm done. Like, I'm over the kid thing. Good for you for advocating for yourself. And she also raises the stakes in that moment by being like, this is our last try. I don't want to do this to my body anymore, which valid.
I do feel bad for her right at the beginning when Rhaenyra hops off the dragon and like walks in and sees her when she's like just laying down or something, and she reminds Rhaenyra like, oh, this is like your duty, you know, this is what you will do one day, this will be you, whatever. And I mean, she's obviously accepted it at this point, but like that's like her duty. And when Rhaenyra is like, well, I want to fight, I want to have like a sword, you know, be on a battlefield, and she's like, this is our battlefield. It's like, that's sad.
It is sad. I'm all for the type of character like Rhaenyra that's like, no, I don't want to. It's kind of like Arya, you know, like I want to do this. I reject this whole notion of like women are just here to make more men. But I also like, it makes me miss Dany even more because I feel like Dany was never, oh, I want to be on the battlefield and oh, I want to, you know, she
literally couldn't do hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah. She like picked up that sword in the long night and was like, I don't know why we're making fun of her, because that would be us. If we somehow got let out of the crypt to try and fight.
Can you imagine if I had that weapon like Arya had where she's spinning it around, I would like accidentally knock you out with it.
I was like, oh shit. I feel like we would accidentally kill each other. We'd be like, okay, dude, ready? Are you ready? We're gonna do it. And then we accidentally like just both go down because we hit each other with a stick or something. But yeah, I just feel like Dany's character was the best of both worlds. Like, womanhood doesn't have to be like these two completely parallel opposite things. And in the world that these women are living in, it's like you really don't have that many options, and it just sucks. I do feel bad for the queen. With Daemon, the little massacre on the square, that was a yikes. I was like, what the fuck is happening here? But then it's juxtaposed with this vulnerable man. I hate this because it's not even like great. I mean, he's at a whorehouse. Like, probably not treating this woman the best, but
it seems like he's decent to her so far.
Yeah,
So far,
he's down bad.
decent.
He's down bad, and he's afraid of being replaced as, like, the person next up in line. And I think him and Rhaenyra kind of share that, like, why am I not enough? Why is he, like, trying to find someone to replace me? I love that they share that vulnerability and that pain point together.
I think they have a lot in common and see a lot of themselves in each other, and that's why they kind of have why Rhaenyra was like, I can go and talk with him and get this dragon egg back because I'm one of the only people he'll listen to, and like that he does, you know, respect a little bit. I like that they have kind of a little bit more of an equal foot than she does with other people.
Yeah, I really love their relationship and how it's not 100% defined yet. The girl that Daemon is with did say that she could go put on a silver-haired wig for him, which was a little disturbing.
Why again is no one questioning the fact that these people all just want to fuck their family members? It's like when Cersei, you know, went from Jaime to her nephew or cousin or whatever. It's kind of like, can you really not find anyone else? Obviously, like we said, we're rooting for Daemon, or I'm rooting at least 100% for Daemon and Rhaenyra, but you know, it is kind of like, why is it just that common to be like, oh, do you need silver hair? Is that what you need? You really need the hair color of your family? The labor, that choice that he has to make, that's obviously like a horrible choice, and we did see that, you know, in, I mean, completely different shows, but in Bridgerton, if you remember, in season 2, Antony was faced with kind of the same decision with his mother. If they had to get down to it, who do they have to pick? So I think obviously the king there is faced with a very hard decision, and I do think that he loved his wife, but to see him make that choice of an heir over his wife is hard to watch, but even harder than when she starts being like, what are you doing? No, stop. You know, like when you see her becoming aware of what he just did to her in that betrayal. Oof.
It's not like he chose the kid or the mom. It was like lose both of them or save one of them. But by saving the kid, it's like you gotta make your wife like experience the most horrible death. I can't imagine being in a situation that he was in, but fuck this dude. I mean, come on. I don't like him after watching that scene. It's just hard. Like I don't feel firmly positioned like pro King Viserys or pro not King Viserys. It was just hard to watch, especially what you said, her realizing what was going on and kind of begging for her life and just feeling so alone in that moment. I can't even imagine. This is what happens to me, right? I always just see stuff like this and I think about how many women that this has actually happened to, and I start to go down like a very dark spiral, and I always end up feeling very grateful that I was born in the time that I was, because I just would not have thrived, bitch, in any other time. And I know that this is fantasy, but we've said before, like, this shit actually happens. Like, women's actually happening right now. Like, women being forced to give birth, and it's fucked up. It's barbaric. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hearing Rhaenyra say Dracarys, which we knew it was coming, like, obviously, I know that that's the word for fire. Like, it's not Dany's word that she made up, but it was, like, that's the first person besides Dany that we've ever heard really say that, besides, like, Missandei and her.
I really like the dynamic, and I don't know, we've only had 2 episodes, but there's already so much drama and so much like shady shit going on, and it's very reflective of the original series with Varys and Peter B and all these kind of like underlying players. They all got skin in the game, they all have their own motives. This Hightower motherfucker, the Hand of the King, and then his daughter is serving Rhaenyra while he is serving her dad, and just I like that dad-daughter duo, but I don't fucking like this motherfucker saying, oh, go fuck the king and make him feel better. He doesn't say that, but he's like basically pawning his daughter off to this man, his underage child.
I'm getting Stannis level of floppage from Mr. Hightower.
Me too. It's like Stannis and Peter B. Because he's not like interesting like Peter B was, but he's horrid.
That's why I think he reminds me of Stannis, because at least like Peter, you know, was like sometimes interesting to watch as much as we like hate Peter B. Like sometimes he was kind of interesting to watch, where this dude is like literally so boring.
Yeah, he is. That's such a good point. He gives off like dad Stannis vibes in his appearance and his delivery of things, but he's also giving Peter B. snake energy.
Yes.
I really feel for Rhaenyra becoming like the heir by default. I think that is a slap in the face, but I love how she takes it in stride. I also really like that conversation that they have, Rhaenyra and Viserys. Viserys is like, the idea that we control the dragons is
yes,
just like bullshit. I love that we get that little insight.
Because you saw Dany struggle with that. You saw her struggle with the dragons and what she had to do. And then by the end, you know, she had like a good handle on them. But I still think that they could have rebelled against her at any point that they wanted to. They just chose not to.
And when you think about it, she's the last Targaryen, the last dragon. Like, she was alone. She didn't have someone to say, like, oh, it's just an illusion that we control them. Like, it's okay. I think she internalized a lot of that. Like, that season in the original series where we were like, yeah, we don't really like Dany this season because she, like, locks them up in the dungeon and kind of loses herself a little bit. I feel like that would have gone a lot differently if she knew none of us really have control over them. That illusion is what keeps us in power and keeps us in this, like, high regard, almost like godlike level to these people. And I think that caused Dany to, like, question herself sometimes because she has this feeling of, like, godlike energy, but then also not being able to control the beings that are, like, giving her this godlike energy. So I don't know, I just loved that small little line, all the insight that gave us. It was super cool. And then also, that conversation had a lot going on in it to end the first episode. But the prophecy dream, bitch, Viserys was telling her about, and, like, the fact that Aegon or whoever had the prophecy dream called it the Song of Ice and Fire, which is the name of the book that Sam writes the history of the original series into a book and titles it the Song of Ice and Fire.
Well, and that's what George R.R. Martin's book was called, like, the first one's called.
Right. And this one's called, like, Fire and Blood or whatever. But yes. And then that prophecy is, like, prophesizing the original Game of Thrones, which is super fucking dope.
Also, the scene that made me giggle a little bit that I'm glad so many other people loved was when Daemon's he's at the brothel, you know, and he's partying it up with some people, and when he cheers to the heir for a day, right? It's bad bitch energy. Like, yeah, that's fucked up, but and then when he has the nerve to say, like, we all grieve in different ways. That's fucking hilarious. Like, he's so iconic already. And him snooping in on the council from behind those grates was giving me very much Mia Thermopolis Rinaldi, Princess of Genovia, Princess Diary 2 vibes.
Yes.
Right?
I was thinking that same thing. This shadowing was, like, exactly the same. This actor is doing such a good job of, like, characterizing Daemon so far with the attitude, but then we don't necessarily, like, we get those insights of seeing him kind of have those vulnerable moments and redeeming moments, but then we also have this, like, fucked up shit that he's doing in the square, like cutting limbs off of people, being kind of a dick at this jousting tournament and being a little bit of a bitch and, like, having to yield all this stuff, the shit he does with the king, the heir for the day or whatever. But I feel him, like, I get him.
I feel like they can't make him, if they didn't juxtapose any of those things with him, you know, being a dick and doing these bad things, then we'd all just be rooting for this dude. Like, I'm rooting for him even with all of that stuff. So
at this point, I'm more just interested to see how things play out. I'm not necessarily rooting for any character in general, but at least not with the veracity that I was rooting for Dany with. But
oh, for sure,
I'm very interested to see how things play out because it's literally like it could go any way.
I'd say for sure the characters that I'm most interested in are Daemon and Rhaenyra.
Yeah, and then in the second episode, we bring in this Christian guy. He is cute. So, like, Rhaenyra has 3 potential love interests. I'm fucking excited about it. Watch them go with Kristen, though. He's, like, the least, you know, like, if she goes option with, the least taboo.
I mean, especially not when you just have so much chemistry. I'd have to see the chemistry build up because right now there's so much chemistry between those 2 actors, between Rhaenyra and Daemon. So I'd have a hard time believing something else unless if they match that.
One of my favorite scenes from the second episode was when Rhaenyra and Alicent are praying in the crypt with all the candles, to see Rhaenyra kind of break and all the pain that she is feeling when she starts praying, and her ability to like be vulnerable around Alicent. I really like that moment.
I do too, and that makes me more sad than knowing that she's like gonna marry her dad, because I mean, you can tell from the end of the second episode that that's not a decision that she's happy with, to see her best friend go and do that on her father's end and on her end. I don't know, that makes me sad to see how their relationship is gonna change, because I don't think it's gonna be for the better.
We'll see how it goes. In the third episode, I'm sure they're going to address it with each other. What the actual fuck with this little child that they're trying to pawn off to this old man. The fact that she was like, I wouldn't have to bed you until I'm 14. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
That's disgusting.
I hate it here.
When I realized that that's what this like walk was, and that's who she was, and that's what this whole arrangement was, no, literally no.
It's god awful. It's rotted.
And then I was thinking, I'm like, how old was Sansa when she got married to Tyrion?
Probably around like 16, 15, 14. 16.
I mean, obviously we knew Sansa was young, but I just would be interested too, because I think like Sophie Turner was much taller, where like this, like I don't know how old this girl is, but she's like obviously very short too, so it like makes her appear even younger. So botched.
That scene immediately feeding into the conversation between Rhaenyra's aunt, who got passed up for the throne when it was like time to choose the heir. It's interesting, you know, and it's like she obviously doesn't like doing what she's doing, like pawning her underage significant like 12-year-old or 9-year-old daughter or some shit off to this man. It's like not what she wants to do, but she kind of has to do it. I love the line when she says men would sooner put the realms to a torch than see a woman sit on the throne. That's so true and so reflective kind of the original series that this is based off of.
I liked seeing that conversation between the two of them, because they're both like very powerful women, and I think are going to be obviously very big players moving forward. I'm interested to see how that dynamic ebbs and flows.
I'm really definitely gonna need this king to die before he marries one of these little kids, though. I'm so sorry, but I can't.
Well, he has an heir on the little chart. Him and Alicent have a son.
God damn it.
So he's not going anywhere yet. What was the son's name? Aegon the Second.
God damn it. Ugh, that's so upsetting, you guys. Trash. She's a child. Your daughter's best friend.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Dad, get your crusty ass away from my friends.
Yeah, and especially I think in his mind, because he's a fucking idiot, that he's like, oh, well, I talked to Rhaenyra and she gave me the go-ahead to like remarry, so she's gonna be fine with this. And it's like, dude, was fine with you remarrying someone else, but not her best friend. Botched.
Oh
although I have read not as many best friend's dad romance. I read a lot of romances where it's like dad's best friend, and I'm like, yay, but not as many where it's your
that's
best friend's
different. Dad's best friend is different than my dad fucking my best friend.
Yes.
Somebody write that book.
My dad fucking my best friend.
You know, I'm sure that's on Pornhub somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure. Men, once again, being dumb. We have seen this time and time again, men being so fucking stupid on this show, and we see it again with the king here. Sir, it didn't work out for Robbie Stark, and it's not going to work out for you choosing to marry the woman that you want when there's a marriage that you should be actually making for, like, political gain, and you're not doing it. And I don't think that's going to end up well for you and Alicent.
I agree. I just think the king is making bad decision after bad decision. He's clearly like suffering from these sores. He can't make like political decisions to save his fucking life. So his young daughter once again has to intervene on his behalf and ride her dragon in because he doesn't have a dragon because he lost his. I guess I'm going to continue to go with that narrative. That Rhaenyra came in and diffused this tension so that no one would die.
That was such an amazing shot of the dragon flying in under the clouds and then popping up, and then once again just like I loved, first of all, when Damon's dragon like crawled over the top of that building. That first of all was so good, and then seeing Rhaenyra and her dragon fly in, and that conversation between them on the bridge.
Right.
Bitch.
Yeah. And also, that's the thing too. It's like good thing that Rhaenyra was listening to the conversation and like said something, because they just completely dismissed Daemon. It's like, bro, do you not remember he has a fucking dragon?
Yeah.
Like, maybe we should take him a little bit more seriously. They're like, oh, it's a farce, like whatever. Okay, fucking Hand of the King almost got burned to death because they went there unprepared to get this dragon egg. All right. Good thing Rhaenyra was on top of her shit so that Alicent's daddy didn't get fucking burned to bacon.
Yeah.
Crispy
That's
bacon.
what I'm saying. Like, this dude, Stannis level of floppage.
He is, and I would have liked for him to die, but I'm glad that Rhaenyra intervened and like showed her dad that she knows what the fuck she's doing. Like, come on, bro.
And you can see that Hightower does not like her whatsoever, because he knows
No.
that she's like an actual threat because she's smart.
And
Unlike
he
her
knows,
father.
yeah, he knows he can manipulate her dad and like use him and bend him to his will. So
Where that's not going to happen with her.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. The king is starting to recognize like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be underestimating Daemon and Rhaenyra. I'm glad that he's starting to see that and like see that these two are with their shit. And I also felt like there was a cool moment kind of related Daemon to being a breaker of chains in his own right, because of his wife to be, or his fiance, saying like, I came to you to be liberated from fear. Her kind of like talking about why she chooses to follow him and like go with him, and why she like kind of is in love with him. And it was very reminiscent of like why people loved and followed Dany. And I just really loved that moment. And that was another moment where I felt closer to Daemon and more conflicted about like, well, yeah, he's killing people and like doing these really bad things, but also I like him.
Yeah.
I would like to see him succeed in his endeavors.
Yeah. I'd love to see him and Rhaenyra on the throne together.
Right.
My last note that I had for the last episode was, did you also think that the crab mask people look like Sons of the Harpy?
A little,
those masks
yeah.
look very similar. Like maybe just like the budget version of Sons of the Harpies masks. They like DIY'd it. They saw it online. It was expensive, and they DIY'd their masks after the Sons of the Harpy.
Yeah, it's this other like terrorist organization in Westeros, or like the outskirts of Westeros. So that whole conflict is going to be interesting, seeing how that unfolds. Yeah, I mean, we're going to both continue watching this show. We may bring it up again on the podcast or like check in about it.
Yeah.
If you guys are interested.
Maybe in October when it's all done, or like when the
Right.
first season's done, and we can talk about a full picture.
I loved doing the rewatch leading up to this series. I'm very optimistic after watching the first 2 episodes. Yeah, I'm just excited. I'm so glad to be back watching Game of Thrones and to be watching it live for the first time, because the first time I watched it through, I was like behind.
Yeah, I'm excited to be watching it live with you and like having you to go back and forth with on it.
So next week we're going to be talking about that one movie, right?
Yes. I don't remember the name of it.
We're going to be talking about Spin Me Around with Alison Brie and Aubrey Plaza. Obviously the baddest bitch in the world. It's a gay movie, I'm pretty sure. I haven't really been seeing much about it. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that next week. Super exciting. Then we have After Ever Happy, and then we're going to do a Drunk Disney, and then we will be talking about the highly anticipated, highly in conversation, Don't Worry Darling. Lots of bitches talking about it in the press. So, listen, quit preying on my man Harry's downfall. It's not gonna happen, babes. It's not gonna happen. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Happy day to you.
Laylas.
Laylas.